the blitz, throw me the bag, I'm cashing in 6-0's Devontae Smith. Who the better brother? I plead the fifth. This the Bird Gang. We going to war. AJ put y'all to shame. 100 yards a game. This year I was already got my name to grave. Step back, you ain't trying to catch my fade. Fly, Eagles fly.
Fly, Eagles fly, the birds and the guys on the way to victory. This is the start of the ride, one finger heavy. Gotta make it tough for all five. From the city where they pop a wheelie in front of your eyes. It's game time, get on the line. Sirianni drawing the plays, Hurts throwing them dimes. Oh my, y'all thought y'all had a chance. You better stack up your teams if you're trying to win against mine.
Welcome in, everyone, to another episode of the Bird Gang Brothers podcast. Don't forget to give us a follow on all social media platforms. But without further ado, I think we need to start off this episode with an important announcement brought to you by Jason Kelce this evening. Do you know? Did you see it earlier?
The dude was nominated as one of the sexiest men. I don't know. I'm speechless for the dude. I'm happy for him, but it was a sight to see for sure.
Yeah. So let's just go ahead and take a look at this big hunk right here. So People's Magazine, Sexiest Man Alive, Jason Kelce as a finalist for the year 2023. I don't know, what's his...
Fat Batman coming in clutch, baby.
Fat
Once
Batman
again.
Coming in clutch. What's his wife's name again? I forgot. Kylie. Kylie's got herself quite a hunk there. So shout out to him. In his tweet earlier tonight, he said, "Beauty is in the eye of the beholder." This guy, I truly am going to be sad when he does retire, and I do think that retirement is going to come after this year, regardless of what happens. And we've talked about that before, so I hope we can get him a Super Bowl ring and send him off.
Another one and send him off the right way, baby. Let's go. Let's do it.
Another one and send him off the right way. He deserves it. We're very grateful for what he does for the Philadelphia Eagles. Best center, in my opinion, in the NFL, and it's going to be really hard to replace Jason Kelce. In fact, I don't think anyone's going to be able to. I know we've drafted Landon Dickerson and Cam Jurgens as backups each year, and then he never ends up retiring. So, anyways,
hey, you never know. That Stoutland University, they draft these guys at one position, and they're playing a totally different position in the next year or two. So, you know, we could have the same thing happen and have just, I don't want to say just as good, because I don't think anyone's going to ever get near Jason Kelce as far as their game, but you never know. That Stoutland, the dude works wonders. So we could see something coming for sure.
Well, I mean, like you brought up Stoutland University. You bring a rugby player over from Australia in Jordan Mailata, transform him into a left tackle, one of the best left tackles in the game, in my opinion, in a lot of people's opinion. You draft Landon Dickerson from Alabama to play center. He's now your left guard. And then I want to say Lane Johnson was a quarterback in high school, then was a left tackle. No, left guard, transitioned over to left tackle. But just Stoutland's ability to instruct these offensive linemen and to be versatile, to play multiple positions. I know we paid him this offseason, and I know Howie Roseman is going to continue to pay him what he deserves. But anyways, on to our upcoming schedule. We are on the bye week, which is much needed at this time. But following the bye week, we've got quite a gauntlet of teams that we're going to be facing.
I want to start off by saying I was right. The beginning of this all, I guessed it, 8-1. I unfortunately guessed the wrong opponent, but I guess, their schedule correctly so far, 8-1. But yes, like you said, much needed bye for a pretty good schedule coming up here um, in the next few weeks.
Yeah, the next few weeks are going to be a true test, and for the narrative that's being pushed in the media, I really want to be able to prove to the rest of the league that Philadelphia is for real. Uh, Kansas City, obviously, we've got coming up after the bye Super Bowl rematch. We've got the Buffalo Bills right after that, San Francisco 49ers, and the Dallas Cowboys again. So I personally think as we've gotten through the season, Kansas City is advertised as Super Bowl favorites every year. They play like it this year. They've got a great defense. But their offense is a little questionable this year. The wide receivers' inability to create separation, hold on to the ball. I think there's a few issues on the offensive side, but it's Patrick Mahomes. It's the same thing, never doubt Tom Brady. He's going to do something miraculous. Same thing with Patrick Mahomes. But I don't think Buffalo is as good as we season after season thought they would be. So I definitely think Philadelphia can beat Buffalo, especially coming into the link, the second game with the Kelly green jerseys, which update for everyone, our Jason Kelsey jerseys in Kelly green has arrived. So we will be wearing those in that episode. But I wanted to just briefly you love and you hate ESPN analytics and what it contributes to the game, but I wanted to just kind of point out what people are saying. So Philadelphia versus Kansas City. Kansas City's got a 61% chance of winning that game. Buffalo and Philadelphia. Buffalo has a 55% chance of winning that game. San Francisco and Philadelphia, we've got a it's 50-50 on that one. And then again, Dallas and Philadelphia. Dallas has got a 56% chance of winning that game. So it's just interesting being 8-1 for the second time through 9 weeks and being disrespected as much as Philadelphia is. Like, I just don't get it. They're ranked number 7 in ESPN analytics behind the Bills. I don't know. It's What do you think of the disrespect that Philly continues to get, especially these last 2 years when they're adequately showing that they're a contender in the NFC and in the NFL?
I think it's definitely something that people take too far. I think every season for the past few seasons, it's always been riding Philly out. Um, and right as soon as you started talking about this, all I could think of was bring out those dog masks. Like, I don't care if we're underdogs. Like, let's show the world who, Philly can show the world who they really are. It doesn't matter to them about what people are saying. In all reality, all that is just bulletin material for Philly, and they can use that to help them out, to get that, to start that fire under themselves if it's not already lit. So, it being ranked 7th, I don't think is like, if I'm correct me if I'm wrong, but they had Dallas over Philly, they had the Dolphins, they had the Bills, they had the Niners, which they're all great teams. Don't get me wrong,
Mm-hmm.
but Philly is they they're in that top 3. in
Mm-hmm.
my opinion. Yes, there's stuff lacking for Philadelphia, but they're not number 7.
No.
But but again, like I said, it's just bulletin material for them to go out and show the world that they're capable of doing it. They're not this some fraudulent team. They past 2 seasons have started 8-1. I
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't call that fraudulent.
No. It's the NFL. Like, no matter who you play, it's difficult. Now this year, Philadelphia is ranked at the very top, number 1 in the strength of schedule. Obviously, that's going to show in the second half of the season. But I think if you can at least I would say Kansas City and San Francisco. If you can beat those two, obviously you want to beat Dallas again to get or increase your lead in the division. But I think if you can beat Kansas City and San Francisco, that will show a lot and will show the reality of this team. And then I think people will take them for real. If you beat San Francisco and Dallas, I can assure you that we will end up with the number 1 seed for the second year in a row and have home field advantage, first round bye. And looking at if the season ended today and the playoff schedule, I want to say we may end up playing Seattle in the second round or even Dallas in the second round. So there's a possibility we see Dallas 3 times this year. And we better clean our secondary up because Dak Prescott played very well in this game. So hopefully, and then, Seattle doesn't scare me. The last 4 games between Seattle, New York, and Arizona, they don't scare me. It's just these upcoming 4, which it's going to be tough not having Dallas Goedert. I mean, last year, same thing. Dallas Goedert out for 4 to 5 weeks with I want to say it was a clavicle fracture last year, happened against Washington Redskins. But then this year, the tackle from the corner Bell on Dallas Goedert. Now, I don't know. Have you've seen the replay and the tweets of that tackle? What are your thoughts? Do you think it was dirty? Do you think it was intentional? What are your thoughts on that tackle?
I mean, there are hundreds of different ways. Okay, let's be real. Not 100 different ways, but there are many different ways in how you can bring a player down. You don't go by pulling on their shoulder or
But
on their arm.
so, like, I'm not pleading the case for Dallas Cowboys, not Dallas Goedert in this situation. Dallas Goedert has such a lengthy wingspan, and he loves to stiff arm. So when you've got that wingspan and you're stiff arming, the cornerback only has one way to tackle you. Now, most NFL players don't tackle with the intention to hurt. They're in the same business. They're providing for their family. I don't think it was his intention, but the way that he twisted his arm and pulled him down, it was borderline. I don't think it's dirty, but some people do.
I don't know. If it wasn't, and part of me thinks if it wasn't a big rivalry game, I wouldn't put, 2 thoughts towards it. But with it being the Dallas Cowboys, that's where I'm going. They've always had intentions of trying to hurt them. I mean, it was last year, or no, year before last, when Dallas Goddard had a catch and it was going for the touchdown. It got called back, but he was running without his helmet. I don't know if you remember that game or that play specifically, but it got called back. And I think just their way of playing against Philly is always going to be dirty. Everyone views Philadelphia, their fans, their team as as dirty. They don't like him, and so I think any team's really going to try and go out there, not intentionally hurt them, but I do think there are some cases where, you know, for example, in this case, that getting him down wasn't all of his intention. So I wish the dude a speedy recovery. We've got some weapons to help kind of fill that gap. I can see a little bit more of a role with Julio Jones now that
For
Dallas is
sure.
out.
Hmm.
We could see, Albert getting a few touches here and there.
Albert O,
Alberto. So I don't know. We'll see how it goes, but hopefully he doesn't miss too many games.
which Jack Stoll, Calcaterra, Albert O have to step up. Um, Ever since the New England game, Dallas Goedert has been a vital aspect of the offense. One player in Dallas Goedert averaging roughly 50 yards per game. That has to be replaced by, you know, hopefully two of the tight ends, but you're going to have to utilize all three. Now, clarification for, I don't know, myself, a lot of fans out there for the Philadelphia Eagles, this injury comes right before the bye. If Dallas Goedert is placed on injured reserve, which there has not been an announcement for that yet, but if he is placed on IR, the bye week does not count. Once the bye week is over, that week 1, 2, 3, and 4 will resume. So, with that being the case, he could be back by the Dallas Cowboys game. Or you wait another week and see where you are in the standings and bring him back for Seattle. I'm very grateful that it wasn't season ending. We all thought it could possibly be. But yeah, 4 weeks and the bye week does not count towards one of those 4 weeks. So that's kind of unfortunate. I thought it did. I got clarification on that. He did have surgery yesterday. So I don't know. It sucks that this happened to Dallas Goedert again because
2 years in a row, it's been the same kind of thing.
him and Avante Maddox have to stop stop rooming together because those are the two that constantly get injured each year. But yeah, hopefully speedy recovery for Dallas Goedert. We definitely, Howie Roseman has an eye, as well as the scouts have an eye for tight ends in Philadelphia history. I wouldn't be surprised if we start looking in the next year or two for another tight end in the draft. But yeah, let's talk. Let's talk about the Philadelphia Eagles and Dallas Cowboys. I just want to say that I think I lost about 6 years of my life watching the fourth quarter, but the last 2 minutes of that game, uh, I was sweating. I was pacing back and forth. I was swearing. Uh, it was just what an ending and what a great game within the division. That's what you want. Obviously, we want to blow out Dallas just to,
You want those close games. Yes, you like watching blowouts here and there occasionally, but especially on teams who are saying they're better than you. Whatever, like close games are good. And part of me going into this game for all my delusional Dallas Cowboy friends, I wanted this to be a blowout. But I have a few realistic fans who actually understand and aren't delusional. So in that sense, I was happy it was a close game. But like you said, it it took a lot. It took a lot off of me.
Mhm. I let's really quick. The the last 2 minutes of that game, you know, for for as quickly as Philadelphia's offense is able to get down the field, I was very surprised that 3 times in a row there was no conversion. for a field goal, for a touchdown, giving Dallas 3 opportunities within the red zone to score. They only got 6 points out of those 3 trips to the red zone. Now, Dallas
Out of the
has,
entire second half.
out of the entire second half, Dallas has struggled in the red zone. That's something that has been an issue for them in every game leading up to this. But the last 5, so in those 2 minutes, Dallas was on first, or it was 1st and 5 on the 6. They got a false start. Okay.
With
First,
under a minute, I believe it was. I don't think it was under the 2 minutes. I think it was under a minute.
under a minute. Okay.
Yeah.
1st and 10, they got sacked. And then it was 2nd and 21. There was an incompletion. That was the lob to the left side out of the end zone. 3rd and 21, they got a delay of game. And then 3rd and 26, it was the completion to CeeDee Lamb. So the Dallas Cowboys, their fans, and the delusion that they go through, they said that the refs won Philadelphia that game. Well, excuse me, the refs put you on the 6th-yard line, and you, in fantastic Dallas Cowboys fashion, made all these mistakes to put you out of the red zone. I want to say, what was it, almost the 30-yard line they had to throw from to CeeDee Lamb. So don't give me that bull crap that the refs won Philadelphia that game. There's going to be penalties that refs miss. That happens in every game. What did you see? What did you see on Twitter? What were some of the the refs gave this call to Philadelphia, or the refs robbed Dallas of this call or this play? What were some that you saw from the delusional Dallas Cowboys fans?
Just how you touched on. It was the whole, refs bailed Philly out of this game. They were wearing their jersey, whatever it was. Like you said, 70 yard, I think that initial drive started out at the opposing 14-yard line, if I'm correct. Got all the way down. There was maybe 1 or 2 plays that were actually their plays that they got, yards on.
Mm-hmm.
But the rest of them, they weren't given to them. Philly did make some mistakes.
Big mistakes.
But they still couldn't score when it mattered most. It's frustrating how delusional these fans are. And all they do is, if things don't go their way, all they talk about is stuff in the past. They're like one of those annoying history teachers. All they talk about is things in the past, and as soon as they start talking, all you want to do is, put your head on your desk and fall asleep, because it doesn't matter. I guarantee you, all these fans who are saying, "Oh, we got 6," I guarantee you they weren't even a thought the last time Dallas won a Super Bowl.
A Super Bowl? No.
So it's like, don't come in here with all these excuses. Take the L and go home.
Yeah.
Stop complaining.
Now, as stated in the last video, because we have family and friends that support this podcast, not all Dallas Cowboys fans are created equal. I know that my uncle, I know that my cousin are able to think. What's the word I'm looking for? I'm having a brain fart right now. Logically. They're able to think logically and look at the game as it happened.
That's impressive for a Cowboys fan, if I'm being honest, to think logically.
Hey, you can't fire shots at the people I'm giving shout outs to that support us.
Okay, yes, I agree. These individuals, you know who you are. This is not towards you. To all you other delusional fans, this is at you.
On Twitter sphere. For the most part. Yeah. One whining moment for Dallas Twitter sphere was the 4th down short pass to Ferguson, Jake Ferguson, tight end for the Dallas Cowboys, which he had a great game.
Phenomenal.
He carved up Philadelphia. But the touchdown then overturned. You could see that his left knee was down and the ball was behind the plane. Therefore, no touchdown. But a lot of people were arguing that there should have been a flag for pass interference because Reed Blankenship tackled him, which I don't know. You could see Reed's arm resting on him and kind of like around him, but that doesn't necessarily mean that Reed is tackling the guy. And if Ferguson is falling at the same time, you can't expect the ref to make that call for pass interference, and you can't blame the loss on that. There were mistakes. The one mistake that I know that we recognized, and it was a typical Dak Prescott moment, going for the 2-point conversion, which would have put them 25-28. He steps out of bounds at the 2. Now, shout out to Brandon Graham, who I personally would name player of the week, MVP of that game. Brandon Graham had 1.5 sacks, huge moments on Dak Prescott to push them back to around the 30-yard line. But then to just hustle to the very last minute of the play and push. Well, he didn't even push Dak Prescott out of bounds. Dak Prescott stepped out of bounds. So, Brandon Graham. Shout out to Brandon Graham. Love him. One of the all-time favorite Eagles. Again, another one I'll be sad about when he retires. That's for sure.
Talking about retiring things, I think we need to retire the whole Dak is 8-4 against the Philadelphia Eagles. Like, no, we're not going to go there. If we're going to talk about good quarterbacks, and yeah, I'll give it to you, Dak. You're good. Not in big moments, but you're good. Let's see. The very first season when Jalen was in the NFL was 2020, and he was backing up Carson Wentz. Did not come in until week 13, 14 against the Packers, I believe it was. Didn't end up playing Dallas that year. First meeting in 2021 was the very first time that Dak and Jalen faced off. We'll give it to you, Dallas and Dak. You got it. There's one. Okay. 2022 and last year either had injuries or something to do with playoff implications or anything like that. So again, whether that was Cooper Rush or Gardner Minshew, Uncle Rico, like you can't call those wins. And it was surprising to me that this last game was the second time that they had faced off. So let's go ahead and erase all those statistics of how, Dak owns the Eagles. Okay, well, let's go back to before you guys were even born. The Eagles had a stretch when they were good for 5-6 years in a row. Are we holding that over your heads? No, because again, we don't dwell on the past. So,
well, did you see the tweet? I scrolled past it, but DeMarcus Ware was walking past the Lombardi trophies that Dallas had won. This was obviously after the game, just, a Dallas fan. Oh, yeah, well, you won this game, but we won all these Super Bowls. How many do you have? DeMarcus Ware, how many of those did you contribute to? For those of you who don't know, DeMarcus Ware was a Denver Bronco before the Dallas Cowboys. I don't know. I personally don't know the number. That I don't even know if he contributed to any of those Super Bowl wins. Because DeMarcus, no, because they haven't been to a Super Bowl and won for what was it, 26, 28 years?
About as long as me and you have been alive.
Yeah, about as long as we've been alive. And DeMarcus Ware uh, didn't play for the Dallas Cowboys, so I know that he was a Denver Bronco. So that was irritating. What was funny was everyone said that Dak Prescott played very well, which he did. I agree. He was
Yeah.
probably the best player on the field. He was hitting his wide receiver. He was hitting CeeDee Lamb. Let's be honest. CeeDee Lamb had like what 200 yards,
Almost. Yeah.
almost 200 yards, but you still lost. So Dak Prescott plays this well, and you lose. It's not like it's gonna go up much from here. So
How's that honey for you, Dak? I think you can just go home, watch some film, and eat some honey while you're at it.
yep,
Like
the honey that you covered yourself in, freaking hoe,
exactly.
freaking hoe. Um, let's see. I'm just trying to think of other.
Gotta tip our hats off to AJ Brown hitting the 1,000 yards
Mhm.
in that game. Last year it took him 13 games. I want to say it was against the Giants in Week 13 where he surpassed that 1,000 yard mark, and to
Okay.
be able to hit that in 9 games was definitely a sight to see. The dude's amazing. Like, and everyone knows that. He's up there, wide receiver number one. But dude's a dog. He's crazy. But yeah, that was something I just kind of wanted to touch on real quick for you.
Absolute dog. Um, let's talk about probably in about 10 more minutes. Yeah. Well, 8 if we're being exact, but let's talk about another dog real quick. N'Kobe Dean. Okay, out with injury. I I want him to be good. I want him to contribute like he did in Georgia. He's talented, he's smart, his football IQ is very high. But I feel like we play better with Zach Cunningham and Nicholas Morrow. So just a side note, I mean there hasn't been any injury report for N'Kobe Dean. Um, so I don't know what the injury is exactly. It looked like it occurred to the same ankle that he was put on IR for. But staying on the defensive side of the ball. Now this is a question that I didn't think about. You've got Hassan Reddick and Josh Sweat in the top 5 of QB pressures in the NFL. Josh Sweat is tied first with Dallas Cowboys 11 from heaven, Micah Parsons, and then Hassan Reddick I think is third or fourth possibly. Hassan Reddick's gonna get a payday. Montez Sweat from Chicago just got one. Are you gonna be able to pay Josh Sweat and Hassan Reddick? Edge rushers, you've already got Nolan Smith coming up. Like that is a difficult question to pose. Like what do you do? Who would you keep? If you had to keep one, would you keep Josh Sweat or Hassan Reddick?
That's a tough one. That is a really tough one. They're both phenomenal, and I think they're both underrated in the league. Um,
No doubt, no doubt.
to be honest, if I were to keep any of them, I think it would be Hassan Reddick.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, they're both monsters, but I don't know. They could totally prove us wrong, but I see Reddick coming back potentially for a he'll get his money, but I see him being more open to take a little bit less to help contribute to the overall success of
Really?
Philadelphia.
Really? because
in my opinion.
I just kind of, at the beginning of this season, there were some rumblings about Hassan Reddick and his contract and wanting to be paid. So I feel like he wants to cash in. This is probably going to be his last major contract to do so. So I don't think he'll take the pay cut. I think Josh Sweat would take the pay cut. But, anyways, I saw that and I just thought it was interesting that you've got both of those that are going to be coming up due for a contract. And what are you going to do? We've got some big players coming up for contract. So it'll be interesting to see what Philadelphia does. Um, any other thoughts from the Philadelphia and Dallas Cowboys game as we wrap up this episode?
Um, got to give props to the main man who keeps the main thing for the way he battled out there. I know a whole lot of quarterbacks wouldn't be able to do what he
Does.
what he does. Like he said in his post game interview, he'd do anything for the city, for the team. So shout out to him. He balled out. He, if I'm correct, has now the franchise record for what is it, rushing touchdowns by
Rushing
quarterback.
touchdowns to over Randall Cunningham.
Yep. So I mean, the dude balled out that first game or that first play right after halftime to Devontae.
Beautiful
Like
ball. Beautiful ball. I I think his injury also shaved off another 6 years. When he went down, if you watch the replay, the helmet came in from the side. I thought we were going to have some announcement that he had an LCL or an MCL injury, and it scared me because it wouldn't be like a 2017 where if, when Carson Wentz went down, Nick Foles came in and won us the Super Bowl. That's not going to be the case with Marcus Mariota or Tanner McKee. So Jalen Hurts really needs to stay healthy.
to be honest, when he got hit like that, I was more worried about his health and when he got hit than I am about submitting a test that I didn't study for. Like
I did that many times in college. I know that feeling.
So I'm hopefully this bye week helps, him
He'll
with his
he'll
health.
he'll be getting treatment every day.
So, but no, other than that, I don't really have much other to highlight.
Yeah, again, great game. Down to the wire. I think the secondary needs to figure their crap out. Bradley Roby for the slot is coming back, which a lot of people were bagging on Eli Riggs. He can't be perfect every game, and we talked last episode about the wide receivers, Cooper Kupp. He was on Tyreek Hill. He's done a great job. He had a bad game. It happens. You're not going to pull him out because of it, but our secondary needs to clean things up to not allow these quarterbacks to carve us up. Because when the opposing team scores, Philadelphia's offense has to score no matter what if we can't stop them. But Philadelphia came up and their defense stopped when they needed to. So I thought overall offense played great. I still wish the running game would get going a little bit more. We'll see if that changes when
Which I feel like that. Yep.
when Cam Jurgens comes back.
Yep.
So this will be the bye week came at a perfect time. We'll get a lot of players back for this stretch run. But yeah, I guess the last thing that I have to say is I love Twitter. I love the delusional Dallas Cowboys fans justifying their loss, and it was a moral victory, which, it's never a moral victory until it comes to the Dallas Cowboys, America's team. Freaking annoying. Like, shut up. I don't care.
Are you still dem boys? Dallas Cowboys? Yeah, no, I don't think so.
So, yeah. Dallas sucks, and Skip Bayless, you can shove it. We'll talk to you later, guys.
Peace.